You gave her everything, and that's exactly why she lost interest. Read that again. Because every man who's been ghosted, ignored, or slowly faded out has lived this truth. You thought being available was the answer. You thought proving yourself would make her stay. You thought if you showed her how serious you were, she'd never walk away. But the more you gave, the faster she slipped through your fingers. And now you're left asking the same question that keeps guys up at night. What did I do wrong? I gave her my best. Here's the brutal reality. Your best is what killed the attraction. Movies, songs, and dating advice have lied to you. They told you women want constant reassurance, that they want all your time, your energy, your attention. But if that were true, why do women lose interest the moment you give it all? Why does the guy who clears his schedule get ignored, while the guy who stays focused on his own life becomes irresistible? It's because women don't crave certainty. They crave tension. They don't want a man who orbits their world. They want the gravity of a man whose world they have to earn a place in. And this is why she's checking her phone tonight. Restless, obsessing over the man she wasn't even sure about last week. Not because he's taller, not because he's richer, not because he's the one, but because he did the one thing most men are terrified to do. He pulled back. That pullback created the gap, the distance, the unknown, and in that gap lives her desire. Most guys will never understand this. They'll keep chasing, keep texting, keep smothering killing attraction before it ever has a chance to grow. Don't be one of them. Stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly why neediness destroys desire, why mystery multiplies it, and the 5 rules every man must follow if he wants to flip the script and make her the one chasing him. If this already sounds like you, keep watching, because the truth you're about to hear will change the way you see women and the way women see you forever. Rule 1. Kill neediness before it kills desire. You gave her everything, and that's exactly why she lost interest. That line stings because deep down, you know it's true. You've lived it. You text her back the second she messages you. You make yourself available the moment she hints at hanging out. You go out of your way to prove you're different, that you care, that you're serious. And what happens? She fades. The more you give, the less she wants. And then you're left sitting in silence, wondering, how is this even possible? I gave her everything. Here's the brutal reality: giving her everything is exactly why you lost her. Society told you the opposite. Movies said love is about endless pursuit. Music praised devotion. Even your friends told you, just show her how much you care. But if that advice worked, you wouldn't be here. If chasing built attraction, you'd already have her. The truth is the complete opposite. Women don't crave certainty. They crave tension. Desire lives in the space between wanting and having, between wondering and knowing. When she has to question where she stands, her imagination takes over. That's when obsession begins. Think about the guy she can't stop checking her phone for. It's not because he's taller or richer. It's because he pulled back. He didn't smother her with attention. He made her wonder. And that gap between her message and his reply, that's where attraction multiplies. Most men get this wrong. They think women want bad boys. But it's not cruelty that hooks her. It's scarcity. It's boundaries. It's restraint. The man who doesn't jump at every opportunity sends one clear signal. My time is valuable. My world doesn't revolve around you. That signal is magnetic. Meanwhile, the guy who clears his calendar and double texts sends a different message. I have nothing else going on. You're my only shot. That energy kills desire. Women chase the men who remain unshaken. When she tests him, he doesn't flinch. When she pulls back, he stays grounded. That's what makes him the puzzle she can't solve, the mountain she needs to climb. And this is the shift you need to make. Stop thinking more effort wins her attention. It doesn't. Less is more when less comes from strength. Attraction isn't built by constant presence. It's built by tension, by the subtle pullback that forces her to lean forward. In the next part, I'll show you the 5 rules that flip this script. The rules that stop you from killing desire with neediness and start creating the mystery that keeps her chasing. Most men fail these without even realizing it. Don't be one of them. Stay locked in because what's coming next will change the way you see women and the way they see you. Rule 2. Master ambiguity and let her imagination do the work. She cancels on you. Thursday night. The date you set for Friday disappears with a quick excuse: work, family, not feeling well. The reason doesn't matter. The test does. This is where most men fail instantly. They text her right away. No worries. When are you free again? They call to check if she's okay. They follow up again and again, thinking they're being caring. But what they're really doing is exposing themselves. Every word screams one thing: neediness. And that's when attraction dies. Neediness can't hide. It shows in how fast you reply, in how quickly you scramble to fix things, in your inability to give space. You think you're proving you care. What she sees is a man with no options. The more you chase clarity, the faster desire fades. Here's what no one tells you. Clarity kills attraction. She doesn't lie awake thinking about the man who double texts. She doesn't dream about the guy who needs to define the relationship after 3 dates. That man isn't the prize. He's the one waiting to be picked. And deep down, she knows it. Watch how it plays out. You text too quickly, she senses your availability. You check in after she cancels. She senses overinvestment. You overreact to a minor delay, she senses fragility. Every move says the same thing: you're not enough without her, and nothing kills attraction faster. The needy man fears silence. To him, ambiguity feels like death. But here's the paradox. Ambiguity is where attraction grows. It's what keeps her up at night. Not knowing is what makes her replay your last conversation. Check her phone again. Wonder if she's losing you. That's why the man who's calm in the unknown is so rare and so magnetic. He doesn't rush to lock her down. He doesn't panic when she pulls back. He doesn't need validation to feel secure. While most men beg for certainty, he's comfortable with tension. And that calmness makes her chase. Predictability is the death of excitement. If she knows exactly when you'll text, exactly how you'll respond, you fade into the background. Reliable, safe, forgettable. But real unpredictability fuels desire. Sometimes you reply fast, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you initiate, sometimes you don't. Not because you're playing games, but because your life is full, because you're not waiting by the phone. And that unpredictability keeps her thinking. It makes her wonder. It makes her chase. Because nothing pulls a woman deeper than uncertainty. Never explain your pullback. Make her wonder. Rule 3. Let her chase. First, stop stealing her tension. Here's the raw truth. Nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how much money you make, or how thoughtful your compliments sound. The second she feels you need her, it's over. Neediness is sneaky. It hides in habits most men overlook: the double text, the endless scroll through her stories, the late-night overthinking with your friends. All of it stems from the same source, a hunger for certainty. But here's the paradox. The more you chase certainty, the more you choke attraction. She doesn't fantasize about the man who needs constant reassurance. She doesn't crave the guy who demands exclusivity after 3 casual dates. That man isn't the prize, he's the contestant. He's waiting to be chosen. And that energy repels her. Think about how this shows up. You push to define the relationship before you even know her. Not because she's earned it, but because you're afraid someone else might get to her first. That fear leaks into your tone, your timing, your texts, and instead of pulling her in, it pushes her out. Neediness whispers, "I need you more than you need me." And that imbalance kills desire. Real attraction isn't built on need, it's built on freedom. A woman doesn't want to feel like your lifeline. She wants to feel like your choice. Someone you could live without but choose anyway. Predictability makes it worse. When she knows exactly when you'll text, how you'll react, what you'll say, you become background noise. Safe, reliable, replaceable. And safe never keeps her up at night. That's why mystery matters, not lies restraint. She doesn't need to know you skipped the gym hoping she'd text. She doesn't need to know you canceled plans just in case she called. The moment she feels she fully has you, she stops wanting you. Most men ruin it here. They think explaining themselves builds connection. They think effort alone equals value. But when that effort comes from need, it proves just one thing: you don't believe you're enough without her approval. The man who gets this moves differently. He stays calm when she pulls away. He doesn't beg when she cancels. He lets her wonder. And that wondering keeps him on her mind longer than any wall of text ever could. Because neediness is just insecurity with a microphone. And if you're not enough without her, you'll never be enough with her. So stop rushing to define. Stop chasing clarity. Stop proving yourself through effort. The moment you try to fill the gap with need, the game's already over. In the next part, we'll explore how mystery and abundance flip this entire dynamic, so you stop chasing, and she starts. If this sounds like the version of you that keeps getting ghosted, rewatch this before going to part 4. Rule 4. Delay your response. Multiply her obsession. If neediness kills attraction, mystery is what revives it. And mystery isn't about playing games. It's not lying. It's not pretending. Real mystery is restraint. It's not giving everything away before she's earned it. When you respond instantly, explain every move, and make it clear you're always available. Her imagination shuts down. No questions, no wondering, no chase. But when you leave space, when your attention isn't predictable or guaranteed, her mind goes to work. Where is he? Who's he with? Why isn't he like every other guy? That mental loop between action and answer, that's where obsession begins. Mystery isn't dishonesty. It's selectivity. She doesn't need to know you rearranged plans. She doesn't need to know you waited for her message. When you hold part of yourself back, she has something to earn. And earning is what builds emotional investment. But mystery alone isn't enough. It has to be backed by abundance. The man with true abundance doesn't just act calm, he is calm. Because his world doesn't collapse if one woman pulls away. He doesn't chase, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't spiral. Why? Because he has options. And options create confidence. Compare that to the man faking it. He pretends to be busy, but checks his phone every 5 minutes. He plays hard to get. But it's an act. Women feel the bluff. Performance never lasts. Real abundance is quiet. It's unshaken. It doesn't need to perform. That's why she's drawn to the man who's hard to get, because he actually has priorities. Because his time is in demand. Because his standards are real. He doesn't need tactics. His life is the filter. He's not pretending to be scarce. He is scarce. And that authenticity is magnetic. Mystery keeps her curious. Abundance keeps you calm. Together, they flip the script. You stop chasing. She starts. You stop proving. She begins to. This is the paradox most men never grasp. The less she knows, the more she wants to know. The more you have going on, the more she wants in. The less you rely on her validation, the more she craves it. That's how attraction works. That's why mystery and abundance aren't tactics. They're forces. In the next part, We'll explore boundaries and emotional stability, the final layer that separates the man she plays with from the man she respects. Rule 5. Become a challenge, not a charity. Mystery draws her in. Abundance keeps her hooked. But what makes her respect a man, what separates the fling from the foundation, is two things: boundaries and emotional stability. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They don't shut people out. They reveal who earns access, and most men don't have them. They give their time, attention, and energy too easily. One text from her, and they cancel plans, skip the gym, abandon goals. At first, she may enjoy that attention, but soon, it cheapens him. He becomes ordinary, replaceable. Now picture the man with real boundaries. His schedule isn't an open field. It's a fortress. His time is earned, not given. When she cancels last minute, he doesn't chase. He doesn't ask for explanations. He doesn't rush to fill the gap. His silence says, "Enough, I have other priorities." And just like that, he becomes scarce. Scarcity creates value. The harder she works for your attention, the more she values it. The easier you are to access, the less she's invested. That's why men with full lives are attractive, because their attention already means something. But boundaries alone aren't enough. She also tests your emotions. She wants to know if you break when she pulls back, if you lose control when she stirs the waters, if you stay grounded or collapse. Most men fail. They mirror her chaos. She withdraws, they beg. She pushes, they overcompensate. She creates drama, they get louder. Every reaction screams one thing: weakness. Emotional instability is unattractive because it signals one truth: you're not in control of yourself. And if you can't hold your own frame, how will you handle hers? The man who wins doesn't flinch when she pulls away. He doesn't chase. When she tests his limits, he holds the line, not as performance, but because he's centered. He knows who he is, and her approval doesn't shake that. That's real confidence. It's not loud, not performative, it's quiet certainty. It's the strength to sit in discomfort without scrambling to fix it. It's holding your frame in chaos and letting that stability speak for itself. Women are drawn to men who remain steady when everything else shakes. They crave the man who can be her anchor without being swept away. The man who won't lose himself just to keep her. And that respect, that's what attraction rests on. So build your fortress, guard your time, master your emotions. Because the moment you stop giving yourself away, you stop being forgettable, and you start becoming unforgettable. Rule 6. Until you heal, you will keep chasing. Most men don't chase women because they genuinely want the woman herself. They chase because they crave a feeling, a sense of validation, identity, or emotional safety that they've learned to associate with female attention. The moment she starts to like them, they feel like they matter more. Their posture changes, their confidence spikes, their internal noise quiets down. But when she pulls away, everything unravels. That isn't attraction, that's dependency. And that dependency almost always traces back to a wound. Maybe you grew up with love that had to be earned. Maybe you were taught that you needed to prove your worth to be wanted. Or maybe every time you showed your real self, someone important to you walked away. So now you overthink, you overgive, you try to be perfect. Not because you love her, but because you're terrified that losing her means losing your value. This is why most dating advice never sticks. You can learn the rules, hold the frame, delay your responses, act confident. But if those actions are fueled by fear, they will eventually crack, because no tactic is stronger than the wound that drives it. Women sense this. You can speak all the right lines, act indifferent, play the part, but if underneath it all, you're still scared to be alone, still seeking someone to tell you you're good enough, she'll feel it, and it will erode the attraction from the inside out. Now look at the man who has done the work. He doesn't need to fake detachment. He doesn't act cold. He simply moves through life without needing her to validate him. If she pulls back, he doesn't flinch. If she tests, he doesn't react. He's not performing strength, he is strong. Not because he's emotionless, but because his identity isn't built on someone else's approval. Let's make this real. Two men go on a date. Both are attractive, successful, interesting. The next day, she delays her response. One man immediately spirals. He wonders what he did wrong, checks her stories, sends another text just to stay in her mind. The other man notices, but keeps moving. He's training, working, living. When he replies, it's because he chose to, not because he couldn't wait. The difference isn't in the timing, it's in the energy. One man responds from fear, the other from freedom. She feels that difference, even if she can't explain it. That's why healing matters. Until you address the part of you that needs her to prove you're enough, you'll keep chasing not just her, but every woman after her. And nothing you build will feel stable. Real power isn't about not caring, it's about not depending. So stop thinking the next tactic will save you. The real shift happens when you stop asking, how do I get her to stay? And start asking, why do I collapse when she doesn't heal the part that needs her? Fill the space that wants to be rescued. Lead yourself first. Because the man who no longer needs the outcome wins by default. Here's the paradox most men struggle to accept. The less you need her, the more she needs you. The less you invest, the more she values. The more you chase, the faster she runs. And the harder you cling, the quicker she lets go. Need is not attractive. It signals emptiness. It tells her you're looking to be completed, not complimented. And women don't chase men who need them, they chase men who don't. The men women remember are never the ones who begged for attention or rushed into commitment. They're the ones who had standards, who had options, and who made her feel chosen, not by default, but by discernment. That's why women often pursue men who seem distant or unavailable. Not because they enjoy being ignored, but because those men radiate independence. They carry themselves with self-possession. They send a quiet message, I'm already whole. But you don't need to be cold or manipulative to project that energy. You just need to become complete on your own terms. The goal isn't to make her chase you. The goal is to build a life so grounded, so full, so compelling that anyone who enters it feels privileged to be there. A life where her approval feels good, but isn't necessary. A life where rejection doesn't shake you, and validation doesn't define you. Women don't crave chaos. They crave men of value. Men who require effort. Men who hold standards. Men who don't fold for approval. Because effort creates meaning, and what comes too easily never feels worth keeping. So stop trying to appear confident. Stop pretending to be scarce. Stop performing like a man of value and start becoming one. Focus on your path. Fill your world with purpose, direction, and discipline. When your life is real, your value speaks for itself. And when that happens, everything flips. She's the one chasing. She's the one proving. And you're no longer trying to win her. You're deciding whether she fits your world. That's the difference between being forgotten and being unforgettable. If this truth cut through the noise, share it with someone who needs to hear it. If it clarified things you've always felt but never fully understood, pass it on. And if you're ready for more grounded insight into dating, psychology, and masculine leadership, subscribe. Because the patterns are real. And once you master them, you don't chase attraction. You attract everything.